A former Donald Trump 2016 campaign staffer by the name of Jessica Denson has filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump and the Trump campaign to escape the non-disclosure agreement that Ms. Denson was forced to sign when she became a volunteer back in 2016. Now, the reason that Ms. Denson wants to get out of this non-disclosure agreement is currently unclear. But the legal reasoning for why she wants to get out of the agreement, and this is a class action lawsuit, so there are going to be other class members, but she wants to get out of it, legally speaking, because the non-disclosure agreement was far too broad. And she was only a phone banker. That's all she did. She was not privy to any kind of campaign strategy secrets. She wasn't even involved in strategy meetings. She didn't know anything personally about Trump or his family, didn't have access to any of that material, wasn't part of the crisis management, nothing. All she did was go into her little local Trump for president office, said, I would like to volunteer and make phone calls and tell people, hey, have you heard the good news of Donald Trump? That's it. That's all she wanted to do. And they made her sign a non-disclosure agreement that is applicable for the rest of her life. That's the part she has a problem with. She says this is a clear violation of my First Amendment freedoms by barring me from ever, for the rest of my life, talking about the work that I did for the Trump campaign. That's kind of crazy. All I did was go in there and make some phone calls on his behalf because I believed in him as a candidate, and now I can't talk about it for the rest of my life? No, that's a bit overkill. I can understand saying you can't talk about it for 5 years, you can't talk about it for 10 or whatever it is, but for all of eternity, that's a bit much. And by the way, these non-disclosure agreements are actually rather common for political campaigns, but they do, as I mentioned, they've got limits on them. This isn't a broad, hey, you can never say anything that happened while you work here until you die and then continue not saying anything about it. Usually like, hey, you can't say anything for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Then after that, whatever, talk to anybody you want. We don't care. Not with Trump, though. And that's why he's being sued for it. Because Trump says, you'll never talk about this. You'll never say a word of anything you may have heard, anything you might have known. You're never going to say a word of that to anybody, or else I'm going to come and I'm going to sue you. That's what I'm going to do. That's what Trump says. That's what those non-disclosure agreements say. And again, that's overkill, but it also, once again, raises the question, what is this man so terrified of, right? Why the constant secrecy surrounding every aspect of Donald Trump? Hiding his bank records, hiding his tax returns. Those are being hidden from actual investigators. So it's pretty obvious why those are being hidden. Hiding his transcripts, hiding his medical history, hiding every possible thing that he can. Why? Because obviously there's something worth hiding. There is information that he knows that he doesn't want you to know. And we need to know why, but we won't know why till we know what that information is, if that makes sense. And I am sure that Ms. Denson here doesn't know any of that. As I mentioned, she was a low-level staffer. No offense to her by any stretch of the imagination, but about as low as you can get on the totem pole. She was just a volunteer that went in and made some phone calls. And now she's being silenced about this work for the rest of her life. That's not okay. Hopefully this lawsuit prevails, and maybe it'll free up some other people who do know things about the Trump administration to start talking about it in a few years if they can get these NDAs to actually expire.